Yeah.
Look out, Middle Georgia, it's Ask Elaine. Leaving no questions unanswered, no rocks unturned. Need an answer? Ask Elaine. Have a question? Ask Elaine. You need a voice? Ask Elaine. Yes, Commissioner Elaine Lucas is on the Glory 980 AM WDDO every Wednesday from 3 until 4 p.m. Ask Elaine wants to hear from you, so tune in and ask Elaine on WDDO.
Even while living 6 feet apart,
bad things can still happen.
If you get in an accident and have been hurt,
call us. We might be able to help you.
The Dozier Law Firm. We've been here and will be here for the duration.
WDDO is connecting you with your community news. We want to broadcast your community news weekly at WDDO. Please mail in all community news to WDDO, P.O. Box 5536, Macon, Georgia 31213. Attention, community news. Correspondence must be mailed at least 2 weeks prior to the event. Community news will be heard every Monday and Friday morning at 10:15 a.m. Mail your community news into WDDO, P.O. Box 5536, Macon, Georgia 31213. Attention, community news. WDDO. Glover Memorial Mortuary, located at 3241 Houston Avenue in South Macon, serving you and those you love with a personal touch is their motto for service. Sympathy, understanding, compassion, patience, and discounts available to lighten your financial burden. Dr. Walter Glover and staff are here to serve you and your family with a personal touch. They specialize in pre-need arrangements and cremation services with discounts given to every family with or without adequate insurance. Glover Memorial Mortuary, serving Macon and Middle Georgia since 1993.
Hello, Middle Georgia. Is that Hank in that truck? Yes, it's Hank's food truck. Doggone it, any way you want it, dog. Yes, that's Hank's food truck. Call him now, 478-227-0547. He's catering your every need. Yes, Hank's food truck. Toppings, you name it, he got it. It's in Hank's food truck. Hot dogs, Hank got it. Sausages, Hank got it. Italian sausages, Hank got it. Brass sausages, Hank got it. Yes, Hank's food truck. Call him now, 478-227-0547, or email him at hanksfoodtruck@gmail.com. The grand opening is coming to Middle Georgia real soon. Call Hank today, 478-227-0547.
I build an altar here.
All right, good afternoon, Middle Georgia. You're tuned in to 980 AM WDDO, and you are on with Don. Current time is 1:15 in the afternoon, and it's Wednesday, so that means that it is time for Wisdom Wednesday with B. Scott Legal. And she has a guest on today, so I'm going to turn it over to B. Scott Legal. You there?
I'm here.
All right, it is on you, ma'am.
All right, good afternoon, Bishop. How are you?
I'm phenomenal. Thanks for asking. How are you?
We're good. We are good. I do have a very special guest, a very wonderful friend of mine, who we had a question about probate matters. Mm-hmm. And so she is a probate expert. She's been practicing probate law for, I'm sure, 20 plus years.
Wonderful.
So she is going to come on. She is Tammy Stanley from the Stanley Law Firm, located in Lake City, Georgia. And are you there, Miss Stanley?
I am. Can you all hear me okay?
Yes, we can. We can hear you just fine.
Great.
Okay, so let me quickly just give our little disclaimer. The information today is given for informational purposes only. It should not be construed as legal advice. Does not create a lawyer-client relationship. If you need advice, you can, for your specific case, we encourage you to contact an attorney, and we are always available. Okay. So, Miss Stanley.
Yes.
How are you today?
I am doing well. Thank you.
Good. All right. So we had some questions, and one of the basic questions I think is a good place to start is what we're talking about probate. What is the difference between a will and a trust?
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you so much for allowing me to be on with Dawn. I feel honored and blessed to be a part.
We're so
thank you so much for that.
We are so glad to have you.
Thank you. Thank you. So this is a question that people ask a lot. What's the difference between a will versus a trust? And it really, there's some differences, but there's also some similarities. So most people are familiar with the will, so let's start there. So will is basically a document where you set out who gets your property and assets, and it can set some other things in place when you die. And that's really what a will does. It'll appoint the person who will carry out that process. And when you sign that document, once you've made those decisions, when you die, a person has to go to probate court, file that will, jump through some other legal steps, and then a judge, if the judge agrees that you are the person that's named in the will, and they also agree that you are appropriate to serve in that role, then you become the executor over the estate and you go about carrying out the terms of the will. So those are really the basics of a will. The trust can be exactly like a will. It can be a document that also spells out who is to get your property and your assets when you die. The trust can actually be found in a will. So it may still have to go through probate, but then the trust can be set up after the probate has been done. Or the trust can be a type of document where instead of going to probate court, the trust will actually own the assets so that when you die, you don't have to go to probate. There's a successor in place that will carry out what you've told them to do and will distribute your property and carry out your direction. So they're similar, but they're different. And whether or not one is appropriate over the other is obviously up to your special circumstances.
Okay. All right. So as far as initial cost for
Yes.
a will versus a trust, how does that work, or is there a difference in the cost?
Well, there can be a difference. Most people, I think the latest statistics show that, first of all, 70% of people don't have wills. So to even just get a will, you're an elite company. It means you have given some consideration to making wise decisions. So I always tell people, if you just do a will, listen, you're a select company. But the will can be, it just depends on what you have. Most times people will call and say, oh, I have a simple will. I just need a simple will. And then when you start talking to them, they may have blended families. They may have small children and they don't want them to get their property all at once. And suddenly we go from this simple will to making some complex decisions. So when you make that determination and you're calling to speak with an attorney, be upfront. I tell people all the time, there's nothing wrong with saying what's a general cost, but also understand you're going to get a general answer. Once they talk to you and they find out what you have, then they should be able to quote you what you're looking at without you being obligated to them to do any work. So make sure you understand that piece. But trusts are generally more expensive because the advantage of the trust is that it's a private document. It's not on file with the probate court if you do it in a different way. So a trust that's not in a will does not have to be disclosed. It can also incorporate property in other states. And then it also allows you, depending on, again, what your situation is, it can give you some tax advantages. So those tend to be more expensive. So again, generally, I hate to give general ranges, but it depends on the attorney that you call. But I would say expect to pay for a will as well as powers of attorneys and things like that will give you a complete package. I would say you're looking at a starting point of around $1,000 and going up. That way, if you're pleasantly surprised, if it's less than that, great. If it's more than that, then you can do some shopping. But that's a good range, I would think.
Okay, what are some of the pitfalls of not having a will?
Okay, so there are many, and I've heard of them all. I'm sure you've heard of them all too. So imagine, I always tell people, imagine this. Everybody has that person in the family that they know out of the whole family, they would not want them to be in charge of the process. So just imagine, God forbid, if you pass away and that very person ends up being over your estate. Would you want that to happen? This is a very common one in our community that I get. We have many families who are married, but the couples are estranged. They don't live together. They don't hold themselves out anymore as husband and wife. But guess what? They never did. They didn't get a divorce. And so you pass away, and imagine your estranged spouse showing up and not only having a part in your estate, but in Georgia, it's important to know that we have a provision where a surviving spouse can ask for all of your estate to the exclusion of your children. So whether that would be successful or not, well, we would have to see what the court would determine. But that one alone should make people run and say, let me get some estate planning in place. Those are just a few. Another one that people get very emotional over, happens all the time, is you pass away, you don't have anything in place. Well, everybody's running in your house picking through what they want. And you would have wanted certain things to go to certain people. Well, you have left that to chance when you don't have a will or a trust in place. So those are some scary stories, but they're very real. I get those calls, and I've been involved in those cases quite a bit.
Right. You're right. I've had those calls, especially with the surviving spouses.
Absolutely.
What you think, Bishop?
Well, it's being a pastor, it's very, very common that the last couple of scenarios that Tammy gave actually do happen. And it's very tumultuous when you are trying to navigate through getting the services in order and things of that sort.
Oh, yes.
And you have to worry about who's trying to get what, because there is no will or anything in place. As a matter of fact, if I may speak honestly, there is a situation going on, and I pray that she's online, going on exactly right now, as to where the husband and wife were estranged, and the husband died.
Yes.
They called the sister in to handle things because they were estranged, and the wife has shown up.
Yes. Yes.
So yes.
And Bishop, if I may, I tell people all the time, I say, well, be assured that once you pass away, if somebody in your family member who has never shown themselves to be particularly ambitious will know the law better than me and Beatrice put together.
Right.
They will quote statutes that we probably have never heard of.
True.
So just understand that you are inviting that type of energy when you don't make proper plans.
Right.
So it's vitally important that everyone makes plans. We know it's not a good conversation. It's not a conversation that anyone really wants to have, but it's a necessary conversation.
Yes, it is.
So
That's right.
So we appreciate you all for the intellectual property on the day. You're helping us with this. So thank you.
We do have one question.
Okay.
I see online. Without a will, and will your heirs or your state get your property?
Great question. So a lot of people always think, well, if I don't have a will it go to the state? And there are so many things that has to happen before that would occur. So that's not the concern. The concern, though, is that in every state, you have a will if you don't do your own will. And so every state has what's called intestacy laws, which you are saying that a group of legislators got into a room and they said, you know what, this is what sounds reasonable to us, and this is who will get the property if this person dies without a will. And going back to our earlier conversations just a moment ago, this is where the pain comes in, because again, those legislators have determined, well, you know what, if a husband and wife are married and this person dies, they're going to get the estate. Not knowing, again, in our culture and in many communities, they may have not taken that decision to divorce, but the status of being a spouse will go to someone who you may not have necessarily wanted to have it. So you have a will. You do have a will if you choose not to do it. It's just, is it going to go to the person you would have wanted it to go to? And that's the concern.
Okay. Great. You got any more questions, Bishop?
No, I don't have any more questions, but I do want to give opportunity for both you and Tammy to put out information just in case someone needs to contact you to, acquire, a good representation in getting this done. Can you please give us your contact information so that we can have it? Or if Dee can text it and I can just post it for you real quick so everybody can contact you if they need it.
I will text it, but
Okay.
Tammy, you can go ahead and give your information. So Tammy, and you kind of tell people what you do. You do the front end, so you do wills and trusts, correct?
Right. So I do mainly three things. I do estate planning, working with people on their wills, trusts, and other capacity documents, powers of attorneys. And just a quick thing, a lot of us are so concerned about the will, but one of our greater vulnerabilities is losing our property because we've suffered a stroke and we don't have anyone to jump in and be our power of attorney. So we assist with those. We do real estate closings, and then we do probate. We do a lot of probate when you pass away, making sure that the assets that you have go to the people that you want to have them. As far as my contact information, you can reach me at 678-231-6958. That's 678-231-6958. I love emails, so you're welcome to reach me at that's THE Stanley, STANLEY, law firm at gmail.com. The Stanley Law Firm at gmail.com.
Okay. Thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you all. This was fun.
It is. We do this every Wednesday at 1:15 Wisdom Wednesday, just to empower the community, because a lot of times we don't have information or have access to the information.
Right.
And so
That's
we just
right.
make the vehicle available so everybody can at least ask a question. Not that you all are giving legal advice, but they just need the information so that they can ascertain whatever they need to from that. And we
Correct.
appreciate you all for just taking the time to come in and give us some of that good information that we need.
Yes, I do believe that Ms. Stanley will be back because there are some other things that can be helpful. We can talk about
Right.
guardianships and conservatorship
Sure.
and things like that.
Sure.
So, and she's excellent at that. I do this work, but she does it primarily. And like we refer to each other, but if we have to go to
Yes, we
court,
do.
then she's gonna send it to me.
That's right.
Understood.
That's right. Exactly. That's
So,
right.
But yes, so thank you so very much. I so appreciate
Thank
it.
you all so much. And thank you, Bishop, for what you're doing for our community and sharing this information. It is so vital. And thank you, Beatrice, for the opportunity to be on here, and just a pleasure. And hopefully we'll do it again.
Definitely. Thank you much. All right, ladies,
Thank
you all
you.
have a phenomenal afternoon, and we appreciate you for your information.
You too.
All right.
All right.
Bye-bye.
All right. Okay, that was B. Scott Legal and the Stanley Law Firm on. So we appreciate them for actually coming in and giving us the information that we needed today to help. If you have any questions that we need to have further addressed, if you're listening and you're not online, you can email your questions to info@glorymediagroup.com. Once again, that is info@glorymediagroup.com. We will forward those questions to the proper people so that we can get the answers for you. And on Wisdom Wednesday, we will get you all the information we can possibly get you so that you can be as successful in whatever you need to be successful in. We want to do our part to connect the communities through the gospel. Appreciation once again to B. Scott Legal and the Stanley Law Firm for tuning in today and for jumping on to help us with some good legal information. Coming up right now, we got some Nashville Life with Mr. Talkbox with My God right here on 980 AM.
You give me that joy.
You give me that joy like a river. You give me that mercy I never deserved. You give me that love, nothing better. You give me that sweet peace like never before.
There's nobody like.
There's nobody like God, like God. I'm talking about my God, my God. There's nobody like God, like God. I'm talking about my God, my God.
Oh, you give me that joy.
You give me that joy better. You give me that sweet peace like never before.
There's nobody like
There's nobody like God, like God.